Aloha, it's Robert with Blue Planet. Today's video is going to be all about strapping boards to your car. So we're going to go super detailed into it, how to do it safely, how to do it quickly, how to do several boards, how to do it on different cars, and so on. So we're going to go real detailed into how to strap the board onto your car. It's going to be a little bit longer video. So if you're interested, stick around. If not, just stop the video right now. So one of the first videos we posted on our YouTube channel was how to strap your board to your car in 30 seconds using a long strap going all the way around, and we'll cover that method today as well. But if you want to watch that old video, check the information tab above. It's a good way to strap your board to your car quickly, but there's some downsides to it. It's definitely not as safe as using two straps. So one question we get a lot is which way forward for the board. It doesn't really matter that much if you have one board, whether you put the fin forward or the nose forward. Actually having the nose forward like this is more aerodynamic, but having the fins forward makes it easier to stack boards. Like if you have multiple boards, it's actually, I like to put the fins forward because then it's easier to stack them up on your car. But otherwise, it doesn't really matter. I like to put the deck pad down so the bottom of the board is up. That way also, if you stack boards on top of each other, the deck pad on the stand-up paddleboard will act as a pad in between the boards. If you're stacking wax surfboards, it's a good idea to put something between the boards, otherwise you get the wax of the one board stuck on the bottom of the other board. Okay, so first of all, let's cover that 30-second method. It's the quickest way to strap a board to your car. It's not as secure as using two straps, so I only recommend it for shorter trips. And if you have a really good strap and really solid roof racks, you need a longer strap, like a 20-foot strap works great. So the way to do it is you just take the strap, kind of throw it over the fins, leave it on top. Then I'm going to take the rest of the strap and go underneath the roof rack and then around the nose with it, and then back underneath, and then through the buckle. And when you're buckling it, always make sure you put the strap from the bottom up through the buckle, not from the top down. Tighten it down and then throw the strap inside the car. And that's it. This is a nice secure way to put the board on the car. It's also great if it's windy because you're staying on the same side of the car the whole time and can hold on to the board while you're buckling it. So this is a great way to strap it if you're not going very far. So one thing I wanted to mention too is I put a twist in the strap right here, you can see. A lot of people think that's like they kind of get anal and they always try to get the straps all straight on the car. But this is actually a feature, not a mistake. You want to put a little twist in the strap. These twists prevent the strap from humming. And if you have the strap flat on top of the car, it'll start humming, and it won't only make a lot of noise while you're driving, it also damages the finish of your board, because when the strap's humming, it means it's vibrating against your finish of your board and it'll scratch the surface. So always try to put a little twist in the strap to keep it from humming while you're driving. Strapping the board with two straps is the most secure way to strap it to your car. And you can either throw the straps over, walk around, throw them back, and then walk around again. What I like to do is just go from one side, put the buckle on top, throw the other side over. The same thing in the back. So now I have both straps in place and I only have to walk around the car once. So that makes it a little bit more efficient. Same thing, I got the little twist in my strap. Bring the strap around, come from the bottom up, tighten it, and then throw the rest of it inside the car. And same thing in the back. Make sure there's a twist in the strap. Come around it. Strap it tight. I like to just, the rest of the strap, I just like to open the car door and put it inside. That's the easiest way to kind of, instead of tying it off. But of course, you can also wrap it around and tie it. You just have to make sure it's tight so it doesn't come loose when you're driving and starts flapping around, So this seemed like I just put it in the door. That way it can't slip out easily, and it's much quicker than tying it off, But this is the most secure way to tie it, using 2 straps, one in the front, one in the back. It doesn't put any tension on the roof racks. Some roof racks can move around, so if that's the case, definitely don't use the single strap method, because if your roof racks get pulled together and move around, then that'll loosen your strap job and can be dangerous. So we like to use these kind of buckles that tighten down and it'll hold it secure. But one thing I don't recommend using is ratcheting straps. They have these straps that you can ratchet really tight. A lot of times you don't really notice how much tension you're putting on the strap, and people have actually kind of pulled their strap right through the rails of the board and damaged their board because you make them too tight. So we don't recommend using ratcheting straps. Another mistake people make sometimes when they put straps on a car is putting the strap into the buckle the wrong way. So this one, if you stick it from the top down, what happens is it can actually pull out. So you don't want to do that. Always put the strap from the bottom up through the buckle. That way the ratchet, when it pulls on it, it tightens down against the strap and it can't slide out. So this is really important. Always put it from the bottom up, not from the top down. One advantage of having a smaller car, the rack is lower to the ground, so it's easier to put the board on the car and easier to strap it on. If you have a really tall car or like a really high jacked up pickup truck, it can be quite an effort just to get it on top, and then you have to climb up on either in the truck bed or on the wheels to be able to strap it down. So having a smaller car is an advantage sometimes because, basically it's easier to put the boards on top. Also, it's easier to get in and out of parking garages with boards on top. Like with this car, even with 2 boards on top with fins on them, I can still get into most parking garages without hitting the top. And that's something also to pay attention to. Like whenever you have boards on your car, be aware of the height. We get a lot of customers that damage their boards by running into the top of a parking garage or their garage at home. It's actually happened to me too with a foil. I had a foil on top, tried to drive into my garage and basically damaged the roof of my car and the roof rack. Luckily the foil and the board were okay. Okay, so next let's talk about stacking 2 or more boards on your car. So first of all, I like to load the longer board first. If you're doing it by yourself, I show you a couple of tricks on how to load it without straining your back. I have rack pads that are a little bit wider than the car, so it's kind of padded even on the edges, so I can kind of lean the board up against the rack and then kind of slide it on top. So that makes it pretty easy. If you have someone else that can help you, have them take one end, you take the other end, and load it on top. So one way is to just strap 2 boards next to each other. The easy way, the way I like to do it, is put the boards stack them on top of each other. You can stack up to like 4 or 5 boards on top of each other. So if you have more than 4 or 5 boards and you want to make 2 stacks, then then you can stack 2 stacks next to each other. But basically I stagger them. That's why I put the longer board first, put the shorter one on top. And so basically you can stagger them forward so the fins are not in the way of each other. These ones have the deck pad in between, so it's padded. However, this one has a little GoPro mount on the nose, so I have to be careful when I strap it down that there's a kind of a gap here, or I put some kind of padding in between so it doesn't damage the bottom of the other board. So once the boards are stacked on the car, it's the same process. You just put a strap over the front and back. I'm just going to toss both straps over at the same time. Leave the buckle on this side. And I'm going to go walk around to the other side. Go under the roof racks, throw it back over. And here's another thing that I've seen people do is instead of going underneath their bar, they kind of go around this side. The back around the outside of the roof rack and strap it down like this. The problem with this is that even when it's tight, the boards can move left to right. They have room to move around. So you don't want to do this. you always want to bring the strap underneath the roof rack right next to the board. So that way they're tightened down and they can't move around. Okay, so same process again as a single board. You just put the strap around, leave some twists on the top. The twists help it keep it from humming and making noise and damaging your finish. Bring the strap through the buckle from the bottom up. And then I like to kind of keep the buckle on the side where it's easy to access it, but make sure the buckle has padding underneath or something so it doesn't damage the rails of the board. Yeah, and this front. Strap this down tight. Okay, so now it's on there tight. Let's check that GoPro mount. So as you can see, there's a little gap between the GoPro mount and the other board, so this one's okay. If there's no gap, you should definitely put padding in between if anything protrudes from one board and onto the next. So you can use the same process to stack several boards on top of each other, of course. So that's a great way to transport multiple boards. And if, like I said, if you have more than 4, I can make another stack on the other side. So I can actually get up to like 10 boards stacked on the top of this car. And I also have a trailer hitch that I can use to stack another 10 boards on the trailer. So 20 boards with this little Prius is pretty awesome. Okay, so this is a real good secure way to strap the boards onto your car. If you have good straps, there's really no way for this to fail. But there is a but. The way this could fail is if the whole roof rack comes off your car. And if you're gonna drive at highway speeds, you're going fast, you got lots of boards on your car or lots of gear on your car, especially race boards or bigger boards, there is that risk that these, basically the roof rack holds onto your car with these little metal hooks. And if these fail for some reason, the whole thing can come off your car. One way to secure it in case of rack failure is what I call the oh shit strap. So the way to secure your boards to your car where basically your whole roof would have to come off. So to do that, just throw a strap over the front. I open the one door and put the buckle kind of inside my car. And then I'm gonna go around on the other side of the car. Same thing, I want some twists in there so it's not gonna be humming when I'm driving. And then I'm gonna strap this strap tight down to my car. And tighten this real good. So now I got basically a strap going through the inside of my car over the board. So this keeps everything tied down tight to my roof. It puts less strain on the roof rack that way. Also, basically, if the roof rack failed for some reason, this strap is still holding everything down to your roof. So this is a nice secure way to hold everything down for longer trips, driving on the highway. I'll put in some photos of that a customer sent in of the boards and OC1s that got totally trashed on the highway when the whole roof rack came off with all the like thousands and thousands of dollars worth of gear, just got trashed on the freeway to completely destroyed. So this strap could have prevented it. So it takes like an extra minute to put it on and can secure your boards the proper way. Let's talk a little bit about the aerodynamics. When you're driving, basically, especially at higher speeds, like the faster you're driving, the more the wind comes over your car. So what happens when you're driving, basically the air hits your windshield and gets pushed up, right? Gets deflected up. So the highest forces on your car, on the roof racks, are not the weight of your board pushing down, but the wind speed hitting the bottom of your board and lifting up this part of your board. So basically it creates a lot of lift, and if you have a really long race board or something sticking way out, that lift can be really intense. So let's say your strap gets loose, like in this case, both of these straps would have to loosen up. And that's something I like about the oh shit strap. If the thing gets loose, you can tell. But let's say both of these get loose and you're driving fast and this starts to lift up. The more this lifts up, the more force it generates. So it's like kind of exponentially increasing. The more it tilts up, the more force it creates, the more your strap's going to loosen up, and the more force it creates on your roof rack. So It's really important to make sure, like if you're looking out the window and you see your boards lifting up, definitely pull over and make sure that you keep that tightened down. That basically reduces the amount of pressure that it puts on your roof, because the more the boards lift up and tilt up, the more pressure it puts on your roof rack, the more upwards lift pressure, and that's the biggest risk. You know, a lot of times people think the weight is the biggest issue, like how much weight you can put on top of your roof rack, but what you should really be concerned about is the amount of lift that the boards create when you're driving fast. So always make sure you keep those boards buckled down real tight. And if you're going to go on a long trip, going at high speeds, also use that oh shit strap. Another little trick I like to use if I'm stacking, let's say I want to stack 2 stacks of boards on this car. It's a little bit harder to get the strap over and under when there's already boards on the other side. So what I like to do is put the strap on first. So I kind of wrap the strap around the roof rack before I put the boards on, and I put it right in the middle of the rack, and then I leave it strapped on the car like this. So now I have the board in place, and if I have several boards, I'll just stack these up first, and then with the strap already in place, all I have to do is like flip it over the board and tighten it down. So it's just much easier to put the strap on like this before you have the board on, because it allows you to just flip it over and you don't have to try to get underneath the board to loop it around.
So what if your car doesn't have roof racks? Well, we have a video for that as well. I have a little icon up here if you want to watch that video, but basically it involves using foam pads that you can put on top of your car, put the boards on top of the foam pads, and then strap the whole thing through your car over the boards, and that way you get a tight fit with the boards tight to your car. We don't really recommend the soft racks where the pad straps to your car and then the board straps to the pad, because there's usually a lot of movement. It's hard to get them really tight, so the board will move around quite a bit. Even if you use those kind of soft racks, at least put another strap through the car and over the top of the board in the front to hold it down. If you want to lock the board to your car for security, we also have locking straps that have steel cables inside the nylon. So we have several options for that. And we also have videos on how to use the locking straps. If you have a pickup truck, the easiest way to transport boards on a pickup truck is using a tailgate rack. It's basically a pad that straps to the tailgate of your car, and then you can strap boards on top of that pad. Usually 1 or 2 boards works well. If you have more than that, you just have to make sure you stagger the fins or remove the fins. And in most states, you can have the board sticking out up to 4 feet. Anything over 4 feet, you need to have a red flag hanging from it.
Just make sure you're always doing it safely. Doing it not safely is a big risk, not just to yourself and your equipment, but also to the people around you. So, if a board flies off at high speeds on the freeway, that can be dangerous for everybody around you. Especially these boards are pretty big and heavy and hard, so you don't want to hurt someone. Definitely make sure you're doing it safely, and it's always better to be safe than sorry. So don't rush it, do it properly, double check everything. Don't drive off without checking the boards. Also, something to be aware of when it's windy and you got especially the light race boards. If you got a light race board, putting it on the roof, you want to make sure you hold on to it while you're strapping it, or get someone else to help you. Hold on to that board while you're strapping it down, because it's happened a lot that people put the board on, grab their straps, and try to walk around their car while they're strapping the board on, and the thing just gets lifted up by the wind, blown off into the parking lot or onto the car next to them.
All right, thanks for watching our video on how to strap boards to your car safely and efficiently. If you enjoyed the video, please give us a thumbs up. And as always, if you're not a subscriber, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We post new videos weekly on stand-up paddling, surfing, foiling, all the good stuff, having fun on the water, sharing the stroke. So check it out. WePlanetSurf.com is our website. Thanks for watching. See you on the water. Aloha.